When the giant strikes, fear speaks first. The stadium holds its breath. Spain attacks. The ball leaves the foot, and for one moment, everything becomes silent. A small African island nation stands before one of football's giants, and in the goal, a 40-year-old man carries more than a team. He carries a country. He carries a family. He carries the words of his mother. This story is based on public reports with dramatized visuals. Before the world believed, his mother spoke first. She said no ball would enter her son's goal. This was not a small match. This was the World Cup, the biggest stage on earth. Cape Verde was not facing ordinary teams. They were standing before football empires. Spain, a nation of world-class stars, global pressure, and expectation. And later, Argentina, a nation carrying trophies, history, and legends. On paper, Cape Verde should have disappeared. The gap in fame, money, and attention was enormous. But giants are not measured only by market value, and faith is not measured by money. Far from the lights, far from the cameras, far from the noise, a mother had already spoken. Before the world knew his name, he was a boy from Cabo Verde, not from a football empire, not from a famous academy. He came from islands in the Atlantic, off the coast of Africa. His father was away on service, his mother worked, and the boy was raised by his grandparents. They gave him home, they gave him love, they gave him strength. In the streets, against older and stronger boys, he learned to stand where others would fall. He was pushed, he was hit, he fell into the dust, but he got back up. He was not a professional at 17, not at 18, not even at 21. The door opened late, around 25. He was not late to football. Football was late to notice him. Far from the stadium, his mother could not be there. No luxury seat, no hand on her son's shoulder. Only a simple home, and a mother carrying fear and faith in the same heart. Before the match, she did not hide her words in private. She said them on state television. Cabo Verde was facing Spain, a football empire, stars, money, pressure, history. On paper, the island should have disappeared. The gap was enormous, in fame, in market value, in expectation, in everything the world counts before a ball is kicked. That was the giant. But battles do not begin when the whistle blows. They begin in the heart. Fear said, "Your son cannot stand there." But this mother answered before the nation, not with pride, not with magic, but with faith before God.
Nenhuma bola vai entrar na baliza do meu filho.
No ball would enter her son's goal.
Do que ela está falando?
Before the stadium believed, a mother had already
O que ela
spoken
quer
faith.
dizer com isso? Será meu?
In the beginning, God spoke. And creation answered. We are not God, but we are made in His image. And because of that, our words are not small things. Words can carry fear. Words can carry despair. Words can agree with defeat before the battle has even begun. But words can also carry faith. They can stand against fear. They can declare that the giant does not get the final word. Long before David threw the stone, he spoke. He stood before Goliath not as a boy ruled by fear, but as someone who believed the battle belonged to the Lord. He did not answer the giant with
in the
panic.
name of the Lord of
He
hosts.
answered with faith. Before the stone flew, faith had already spoken. And far from the stadium, another voice spoke before the result was seen.
Nenhuma bola vai entrar na baliza do meu filho.
A mother looked at the battle in front of her son and said,
Perigo agora.
"No
Entra na
ball
área.
will enter his
Atenção.
goal."
Pode finalizar.
The shot came. Spain attacked again. The ball moved toward the net. The world expected the giant to win. But faith often speaks before giants fall silent. In one world, David's stone flew through the air. In another, a football flew toward the goal. And in a small room, a mother watched. Her hands trembled. Her eyes filled with tears. But her words did not change.
Nenhuma bola vai entrar na baliza.
No ball will enter my son's goal. Then the goalkeeper moved. The gloves met the ball. The net stayed still. And the ball did not enter. The stadium erupted. But far from that field, a mother's heart broke open with gratitude. Before the world believed in him, his mother had already spoken faith. When the final whistle came, he fell to his knees. Not like a man chasing fame, not like a superstar celebrating himself, but like a son overwhelmed by everything it had cost to stand there. He remembered the grandparents who raised him, the hands that held him, the people who shaped him, the ones who were no longer there to see the moment. And he remembered his mother, the woman who believed from far away. But faith is not always a trophy. Against Argentina, Cabo Verde fought again. He stood again. He saved again. They pushed one of the greatest teams in the world to the edge. But in extra time, the dream ended. Argentina moved on. Cabo Verde went home. And still, the story was not broken. Because faith is not proven only when you lift the cup. Sometimes faith is proven when you lose with dignity, when you help your brother stand, when you walk away without shame because you know you stood before giants and did not break. Before the world believed in him, his mother did. Before the stadium knew his name, her words had already refused to agree with fear. She did not speak magic, she spoke faith.
Thank you so
Her son
much.
stood, not alone, not forgotten, not unseen. He stood with the love of those who raised him, with the sacrifice of a mother who worked, with the memory of grandparents who shaped his soul, and with the faith of a voice that spoke before the evidence appeared. This is not only a story about football. It is a story about what happens when fear expects silence, and faith speaks first. Because sometimes, before giants fall, before the crowd understands, before the world believes, a mother has already spoken. Faith speaks before fear wins. Maybe your giant is not on a football field. Maybe your giant is fear, a diagnosis, a debt, a broken family, a dream that feels too late, a door that keeps closing. But this story is a reminder. Do not let fear speak the final word over your life. Speak faith. Stand with dignity. And when the giant stands in front of you, remember, you are not standing alone. Faith speaks before fear wins.